Hello, my name is Liz, and welcome to the Tiny Treatery. On September 15th, 2021, it was my bake-a-versary, so that means it has been exactly a year, pretty much, since I have taken on baking as a hobby. Obviously, previously in my life, I had baked things here and there, but never in a serious way, never in a dedicated way, where I had made it my hobby, my passion, my life's goal to get better at, whatever. Is it a passion? Do I care that much? Anyway, this is a photo of the first thing I made after I decided I was going to take on baking as my quarantine hobby. So this is just a single cupcake made out of boxed mix with canned frosting, gloobly piped on top. It was pretty much a test run to see if I was going to be able to do math to reduce recipes and bake in single servings at a time. I've kind of strayed away from that a little bit. Some of my bakes have been a little too big lately, if you ask me. Even though this cupcake, isn't the cutest thing in the world, it was the start of a journey and the precursor to the Tiny Treatery channel. So to celebrate a year in baking, I am going to be making a 2-layer 4-inch vanilla cake that commemorates my most iconic bakes of the year. So I'll show the recipe for the cake on screen now, both with the original yield and the tiny yield, and meet you in the kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen. This recipe consists of cake flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, butter, sugar, eggs, plus additional egg whites. So the original recipe calls for, I think, 3 eggs and then 2 additional egg whites, but I'm just too lazy, and the amount of total egg mass I need is less than 1 egg anyway, so I'm not really too concerned about the egg to egg white ratio. I'm just gonna whisk this egg up and weigh out the appropriate mass, even though that means I'll have a little more yolk than I should. I don't care. Vanilla and buttermilk, which true fans would know I never buy because I never use it all the way before it goes bad. So I always do makeshift buttermilk. 15 parts milk, 1 part lemon juice. The reason that's the ratio is that when you look it up online, it says 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and then fill it up to a cup, which would be 15 more tablespoons. Probably could you do a slightly different ratio? Yeah. Who decided that a tablespoon is what it is? Who decided a cup is 16 tablespoons, What if a cup was 18 tablespoons and then we were doing a tablespoon of lemon with 17 more tablespoons of milk? Things would be a little different. Anyway, sorry. First things first, let's get measuring. Everything's measured out. First step, preheat. 350 degrees. For the batter, cream the butter and sugar until pale and fluffy, smooth and creamy. Beat in the egg and vanilla until combined. Whisk together the dry ingredients, which is the cake flour, salt, baking powder, and baking soda. Slowly add those in and mix until just combined. And then slowly add in the buttermilk and mix that until combined. Pretty standard as far as making a batter goes. Although the other times I've made a recipe with buttermilk, and according to that BuzzFeed quiz I took during my mug cake video, normally you would alternate the buttermilk and dry ingredients, but these instructions say add the dry ingredients until combined and then add all the buttermilk at the end. I don't know. I'm just gonna do what it says. And then of course, pour them in the pans. I have 2 little 4-inch pans that I have already greased and lined with parchment paper, and I will weigh them to make sure they have approximately the same amount of batter in each, and then bake for 23 to 26 minutes. Let's get mixing and baking. Cakes are in the oven now, and then once they're out, I'll have to let them cool and it'll be time to decorate. And luckily for me, I already made the buttercream and I didn't film it because who cares? All the boring, difficult stuff is done. All that's left is the fun, cute art part. But first, anyway, next thing you'll see, cake decoration. What's up, gamers? As you can tell by the title, I'm gonna try baking a mini pumpkin pie, which involves altering the recipe into smallness. This is the size I'm going for. And I have a slice of pie. I'm going to be making cupcakes with Monster energy drinks. I can't. Oh my god. Today, I'm going to be making mini donuts. They're so cute. Oh my gosh. Copycat recipes for Loft House frosted sugar cookies. Oh, it smells like cream cheese. Ugh. Oh my god. It's the cutest thing I've ever made. I've peaked. I'm going to be making funnel cakes, and I'm going to make one the traditional way and the other one in the air fryer. Hello class, welcome to Pikmin 101. The red Pikmin are immune to fire, yellow Pikmin are able to carry bombs, blue Pikmin can go in water without drowning, and your homework assignment will be to comment which Pikmin you think is the cutest. I'm going to be making a small 2-layer chocolate cake. As it is Pride Month, I came up with what I think is a really cute idea. It's a coming out cake. Decorate the cake on the outside however you want. On the inside, the layers are colored as the flag that you identify with the most. On July 2nd, it will be my birthday! What I'll be doing today is making a mini recreation of my very first birthday cake, which is shown here in this picture. I will be attempting to make somewhat of a replica of these glasses. Overall, they turned out really well, given how much of a beginner I am. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more baking adventures. Wasn't that so cute? Oh my god. Okay, so now that I have the canvas of cake prepared and all my commemorative decorations, it's time to complete the decorating of the cake. The idea is to put all the commemoration onto the blank canvas and end up with a cute little cake at the end. I'm a little worried that I don't have enough surface area to put them all on. They might be kind of crammed, but we'll see how it goes. Yay! It's so cute. I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy that I was able to manage to get all of the transfers onto the cake, and it's not horribly crammed. It looks pretty good, if you ask me. And a little homage to my very first bake on top with the mini cupcake. Honestly, you can probably tell this cupcake is a little weirdly shaped. It doesn't look like a proper cupcake because I didn't have a real mini cupcake tin to keep the liner in the appropriate shape, and it kind of woobled around, and I used a knife to kind of try and sculpt it as best I could into a cupcake shape. But you know, it's okay that that part looks messed up because it's a representation of back when I was unskilled and knew nothing about baking. So honestly, narratively, kind of works. Oh, I don't want to cut into it. It's a representation of my entire baking career in one little cake. How can I? Ugh. Also, I don't know if it was obvious in the footage, but I know before cutting into this already that the cake to frosting ratio is going to be abysmal. Like, this is very frosting heavy because the cakes did not bake up as high as I expected them to, so I had two like pretty short layers, but I knew that I was gonna need as much space as possible to get all these transfers to fit, and they barely did as it is. So what I did was I put the first layer down and I didn't level off the top. I left the tiny little hump that happens when you bake sometimes, and then the other one, I turned it upside down and left its hump as well. So it kind of was like an hourglass of cake where the two rounded parts were meeting in the middle, and then there was like this huge gap on the sides that I just filled with frosting in order to get it to be tall enough to fit all this stuff. Queen of adapting and adjusting on the spot, but it also means that this cake might not be very good. Oh well. So, you know, that's a bit of a wonky solution, but a year ago, I wouldn't have even been able to conceive of, let alone execute, a feat like that. So I think that in and of itself is a sign of budding talent. I suppose I've stalled enough. Comment below which was your favorite of all the little replicas I made of my iconic bakes. So I'm just gonna do the cutting here at the table because we've seen enough close-ups. We've had enough montages in this video. I'm gonna cut out the monster transfer. That will be the first slice. It was in the freezer all night, so it's a little difficult to cut. And I could feel that big, thick section of frosting. Oof. Got a little slice. Here's my slice of cake with the monster transfer, and you can definitely tell when you look at the cake part. The top layer in particular on this piece has a big segment of frosting that is accounting for the difference in width between the top layer and the bottom layer. So the bottom layer goes out a lot further, and the top layer just does not. So I had to plaster it with a bunch of extra frosting, and you can very clearly see that. Let's taste. should cleanse my palate with water, not Monster. I mean, it tastes like cake. Not really much to say because it pretty much just is a plain vanilla cake with buttercream, and it doesn't taste bad, so I did okay. This might taste bad though, because I did realize after I made all the transfers, I forgot to add vanilla flavoring to the royal icing, and even with vanilla flavoring, I usually don't like royal icing, but without it, it's gonna be even worse. Oh my god. Yeah, actually that didn't taste terrible because it's not as thick as it is on a normal cookie, but I mean it was very sweet and like aggressive. This bite is pretty much 90% frosting, 10% cake. Well, actually I'm being dramatic, maybe like 70-30. I mean, as expected, very frosting heavy. And the little bite of cake I just took by itself is my favorite because I'm always gonna prefer cake without icing. Well, not very exciting as a taste test goes, but I think very, very exciting as far as decoration goes. I'm really glad that the idea was pretty much executed exactly how I pictured it in my mind. Because usually, you know, when you envision a project, half the time what you actually end up with is like not even a fraction as cool as it was in your mind. But this is almost perfectly spot on to what I thought I was gonna accomplish, which is fantastic. The leaf blower has started, so time to wrap up. Thanks to all of you who have been watching me on my baking journey this past year, whether that be every video, some of the videos, or maybe you're just tuning in now for the very first time. Regardless, thanks to all of you for spending time watching me spend my time baking little creations. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more baking adventures.